Hi everyone, Steve Westman, live Audiophile Roundtable. Do all remastered albums sound better than the original? Plus big news, and we're going to do some picks today as well. I'm going to bring in our gang, start with this guy here, Patrick Peavythal. Patrick, welcome, and I wanted to
Hello.
thank you. Certainly wanted to thank you. This was your idea today. I said, Steve, let's do a show on do all remastered albums sound better than the original. So this is your fault. I'm blaming this all on you if this goes sideways today.
I take full responsibility.
Big news today, and we're going to get into it. We'll bring on the other guests, but Beatles, Capitol tapes, analog, the 1964 cuts are going to be coming out, or they should be coming out soon. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we're going to bring in everyone's favorite intern, Michael T. Michael, how you doing?
Good. Since I'm your intern, how's your coffee? Is it good today?
You know, I got it. Look at this. Check it out. All good.
Thank you. You want more cream or sugar?
Perfect. You hear that?
So thank you. Good. Awesome.
No, I'm drinking Canadian beer in honor of Mr. Westman. So
there. What kind are you drinking?
This is La Fin du Monde.
Nice. So, yeah. We have one other guest, Joe from Pure Fidelity. You met him this weekend, Michael.
Yeah, I did.
The Seattle show. He had a computer glitch. Apparently, the computer decided to reboot just as he was trying to log on to this show. So he'll be on momentarily. But in the meantime, I definitely want to get to news because there's some big news happening if you're a Beatles fan. And we were talking
here now.
Before he's here now.
Yeah.
The one and only from, I guess he's connected, from Kelowna, BC. There he is. From Kelowna, BC. Is his mic working?
I know that guy. I just met him.
You have him muted.
Oh, hang on.
Either that or he's got. I unmuted his mic.
No, his mic isn't connected. It says.
Yeah, that's what it says.
So he'll figure that out.
Now
pretty scary. The guy deals with all these high end, turntables like that Pure Fidelity turntable behind me. He can't figure out a mic, but Mike, Joe will figure that out. Now I think we can hear you, Joe. Nope. It's on his side. So big news, and I'm sure some of our viewers probably know this. I'm going to go right to it right now. And Patrick, we were talking about this, but this was on the Beatles website. And this is actually a blogger here, BeatlesBlogger.com. The 1964 Capitol albums to be reissued on vinyl. Looks like the Beatles camp is getting ready to announce a vinyl reissue of 6 U.S. LPs from 64. Meet the Beatles, Something New, the Beatles' second album, Beatles 65, A Hard Day's Night, and Early Beatles. Check it out, guys. The official website briefly had these pages published depicting pack shots of each album, but they have since taken it down. There's what they look like. But look at this. Looks like a Rhino Hi-Fi, doesn't it, Michael, with the tape box pictures as well.
Is that Joe's mic?
And then you got this one here.
Yeah.
Beatles' second album, Beatles 65. And then early Beatles and the Beatles' Hard Day's Night. And then apparently, too, I want to show you guys this. I think they're going to also include the Beatles story there. It's a double LP, which I own. I've never listened to my copy, so I can't imagine many people are going to listen to the Beatles story. It's not music. It's just the Beatles and how they got to North America.
Hey, Steve, let's clarify something right away. I'm seeing somebody say more digital Beatles. These are not digital.
Let's clarify that these are third generation Capitol tapes. They're the Dave Dexter masters. So Dave Dexter did those for Capitol, and he added EQ, he added echo, he added compression. That's what you're hearing in these Capitols. So the Dexter, there have been Dexter-sized, as Patrick wants to say, and I won't be buying them. Dexterized. I won't be buying them. I have no desire to buy them. I wanted the UK stereo cut AAA on vinyl. Definitely that's not happening. The cutting engineer for these is a guy named Kevin Reeve, who cut these records based out of Universal's studio in Nashville.
And let's clarify, these are mono versions. They are AAA cut. They mentioned in the literature that they're cutting them on a Studer A80, and they're using a Neumann VMS 70 cutting lathe that was actually at Capitol Studios in 1971.
That's amazing. So I don't know if many people knew about this. I think it was just one of those things that just came out of the blue. But like I said before, and Patrick, I wanted you to talk about this as well. So Dave Dexter, him and his team obviously used the tapes. They added the extra EQ, the echo, and the compression. So this will be a third generation quarter-inch tape for the North American production, I would assume. Capitol masters, of course, are not the Abbey Road original masters because those ones are stuck in a vault, of course, in London. So we're getting, the Capitol ones. And I mean, I guess it makes a lot of sense, right? These are the 60th anniversary of the Beatles' first tour in the U.S. So I'm assuming that's probably one of the reasons why they decided to put these out. I would assume. Would that make sense?
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I mean, this didn't move the radar for me at all.
No.
But I know people that are very passionate and very nostalgic about these records. And like we talked beforehand, I said, I'm looking at these and I saw Beatles 65, and I'm going, I kind of have a soft spot for that. So even though I don't need it, and I can, it's just one of those records that it's not the best sounding version of those songs, but it's a version that I heard first as a kid, and.
Yeah.
And
we all did.
that kind of stuff resonates, But I mean, I won't buy the box, but I think Michael was talking, saying he might buy a couple of titles. I probably will buy like maybe one or two, just to have, even though I could find originals of those every night, any week and twice on Sunday, all over the place. But it's just I mean.
So we know that they're going to be. I mean, running out and buying them the first day their release is not a big deal. They're not going to be sold out. They're going to be here for many, many, many years. Now, my question is it just going to be one of these boxes, or will we be able to buy these individually as well, Michael? What do you think?
I believe they're going to be available individually because I saw a video where it said if you buy the box, you get that extra title.
So can Capitol do whatever they want with these? Is that up to them to say, hey, we're going to press 100,000 of them individually or numbered or whatever?
Nothing to do with Abbey Road. I don't think it's a
so Capitol could do whatever it wants. So.
Yeah. How you doing there, Joe? Can we hear you yet?
Hopefully good. Can you hear me okay?
Welcome to the show. This is Joe.
Perfect.
And Joe and Michael met each other on the weekend in Seattle.
We were bosom buddies.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
You bet.
Joe's part of the team that markets and sells this turntable behind me from Vancouver, the Pure Fidelity turntable.
So you can see mine right there, but mine's all white.
But and then I wanted to show you this quickly, and we'll get back to the Beatles, but this is looking cool. This is your newest turntable, the Pure Fidelity. What do you call this?
The Symphony. Yeah, it's pretty stunning. I mean, we're really, really known for our veneer finishes, and
I love mine.
This one just really allows the wood finish to breathe. And so we've got a 12-inch tone arm. That's our Savant. It's got a titanium arm tube. It's pretty substantial.
What's the cart on there?
Pardon me, sorry?
The cart?
Yeah, that was not our Stratos. Actually, I'm not too sure actually which cart that one was.
I know what it was. It was called an Ikeda, Ikedo.
I have one. I have the Stratos MC. Is that going to be the
yeah.
same one you guys are going to have on that new Symphony?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can have whatever they want on it. So like the table is going to be starting at around 22,000 US. So most people, and our carts are around $2,000 US. So most people, when they're at that price point, they're probably not going to be using.
What's your retipping price for a moving coil?
Pardon me, sorry.
What's your retipping cost for a?
Yeah, we don't do the retipping. I'm trying to think of the company that's here in North America, but we honestly haven't had to have anything retipped. All of our carts are made for us by a Gold Note out in Italy to our specs.
But they wear out over time. I mean, after a couple.
We've only had it out for I want to say 3 years, and so we've never actually had anyone get to that.
I'm working
point,
on it, Joe. I've been playing. I play it every
I
day.
bet.
I'll be the first one back to you saying,
so,
"Hey, man,
so you recommend somebody in the U.S. Is it like Andy Kim and since he's in the
again, it's not a situation that I've ever had that I've ever come across where someone's been requesting it, but I've heard nothing but good things about. I think you said was it Andy Kim, correct?
Yeah, I think he's in the Pacific Northwest. He's probably the guy that a lot of people like on the Hoffman forums go to.
He's actually he moved to Sacramento now. He did
it. So I'm in Sacramento. I should dig in and say, hey, I've got an 18 P33G that I need you to read.
I mean, I went from a P6 and a MC cart to the Pure Fidelity Harmony with the Stratos MC. So I mean, it was quite a jump for me in terms of the overall sound quality of playing my vinyl. So I'm very pleased. And again, thank you for that, Joe.
If you are
happy to buy from you.
Use it and abuse it. We love to hear your feedback on it.
So I want to get back a couple of things, getting back to the Beatles. So it's Kevin Reeve. Is it Reeve or I guess it's Reeve? Reeves? Anyways, he's the one that cut the Beatles 1964
So they sent
all
him
analog.
the tapes. That's what I was wondering, because I don't think Capitol can cut all analog, can they? I don't think Capitol
So
does
the
all
Capitol
analog.
Towers doesn't have the lathe any longer, so that's
They
why.
they shut down their
Yeah.
mastering facility a couple
So
years ago.
I think they moved it to Universal. It's in Nashville now, so that's where it is. It's Universal's Nashville studio with the
Doesn't
lathe
like that
there.
guy Ian Selfcheck work for them? Isn't he the mastering guy there? Or is
If
it,
I look down, hang on, in
It,
this
it used
blog
to
too.
be it used to be him and Ron McMaster, but they
Yeah.
shut it down.
Here, I want to go on in this. In the Beatles blog, as you can see, each album comes with a replica inner sleeve from the time and a sheet or booklet replicating the original tape box. So just like Rhino, it's not yet known if the albums will only be available separately or they'll be in a box set containing all 6 LPs. So they don't know that. This blog didn't know that. Speaking of those images of the tape boxes, before the pages were taken down, each album had its mastering notes text attached. So what did it say here? These albums are cut for vinyl from the original master tapes using a completely analog signal path with constant reference to first generation pressings of the original albums. They were made using a Studer 880 master recorder with analog preview and program pass and a Neumann VMS 70 cutting lathe originally installed in Capitol Studios in 71. Michael did say that. This specific all-analog cutting technique allows faithful representation of the full musical range and dynamics present on all the tapes. So yeah, so fully analog AAA pressings is very welcome news as to whether the original Capitol mono or stereo mixes. The images seem to confirm mono, as the album above all show Capitol numbers starting with the T prefix meaning mono. These releases tie in well with the 60th anniversary celebration of the Beatles conquering America and the rumored the Beatles, the first U.S. tour reissued of the famous Miles Brothers film, also expected to be announced soon. So there you go. It's all tied into the 60th anniversary. Beatles come into America for the first time. All analog. Patrick?
And also, we should let people know that is why they made the Butcher cover, because Capitol issued 6 albums in 1964.
So I don't know.
With 12-minute sides.
I mean, with the added EQ, echo, and compression on this, I don't know. That's why I put my
some people love those things
because I think these are great.
Yeah.
I think they would have been wise to have included Rubber Soul and Revolver, though. I think that would have probably served them better to have done that.
They intentionally wanted to do 60th anniversary. I heard those are coming later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna bundle them all, I mean, they got one shot at this. I think this isn't going to be a repeat thing where people are going to keep buying it over and over. It's going to be to me. It's going to be like a one-shot deal, and they're going to sit around forever with what's left.
They're going to be around for a long time. So I mean, you don't need to rush out and buy them.
You know, people are going to go to the record store and see them and go, "Oh, it's the Beatles," and they don't know. They have no idea what they're getting. They're like going, "Oh, it's the songs I love." I don't know. It's the Capitol mix with all that bullshit. So that might happen as well. But yeah.
I mean, I'm just reading some of the comments here. Rick's V Spinner is saying, "I don't know anyone that wants the U.S. Canadian Beatles."
I do. I even before this came out, I've talked to people that said they really are nostalgic and love how those U.S. albums sound, because it's their sound of their youth when they were growing up. The sound of that little console stereo in their living room their parents had or their grandparents had.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, the red and the blue ones, what were those Capitol ones, or
those were Apple?
Not?
Those were Apple. But they were also done by. They were also. I think they were.
Look at that. So that's what it's going to look like. So you're going to get the Beatles story, which I do own. I have a 1983 copy for a Canadian copy. I've never even listened to it before. I think it's still in the shrink from that year.
So the red and blue, that's the most recent versions of them, because they're all digital, but I think it was up until like 2017 they were all analog cut.
Yeah, stereo too. Those were
but was that the Capitol versions, or were they?
No,
they had Apple on the label, I believe. I have them down here.
Okay,
some are still available.
I just went on Discogs and I got the red and the blue. There was like an Italian pressing of it, but I found one in the wild of, I guess it would be a Canadian one. It sounds insanely good, and I was really, really shocked, because my introduction to the Beatles, obviously because I'm a little bit younger, was all CD, and then like a fool, I bought the Beatles stereo box. And it was funny. I got a notification.
So why were you a fool for that? I'm curious. Why were you
because the mono. I mean, to hear the Beatles. I mean, everyone says to hear it in mono, and so I ended up getting it for a smoking deal. I got it for like $250 Canadian on an Amazon
I mean,
special.
honestly, the Beatles stereo box, everyone vilifies it because it's not all analog. But I mean, if you compare that to like the blue box, the solid state cuts that originally came out, they're exactly pretty much on point. I mean, absolutely on point.
I guess for me, like when I heard my version of the blue album there, and I'm listening to it, and this was like I want to say 1970. I should find out what it is. Like it's a 1980s pressing of that or whatever it is. It sounds insane good. And so when I'm A/B testing the songs from my stereo box to even the cuts that are on that blue, it's night and day in comparison to how good it is.
Joe, I'm gonna tell you guys something I read on a forum, that what they did for these, this is a rumor, when they cut these in the US, they went and they physically cut out the tracks off the master tapes.
Oh, really?
And they put dubs in their place. That's why they sound so good. They made dubs, and they stuck them back in there, and then
you should hear the UK first pressing of those. Those are nice.
Do you own them? You own them?
I
or
do.
You have them? Yeah.
I do.
Not meaning to brag or anything over here, but you know.
So in the comments,
well, somebody gave me a record collection. That's why.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm going to ask the viewers, put in the comments, will you buy this 6-album Beatles AAA mono Capitol version, 3rd generation? Now, someone in the comments did say, Patrick, that its stereo had the Dexter reverb and echo and
I am not an expert on the U.S. pressing.
But the mono didn't. But I do. I have sources that told me too. The mono had the same thing, had the compression, the echo, and the reverb as well. So I believe I'll use those sources and say they're pretty solid.
So I'm not. I definitely am not even close to an expert on that stuff. I'm maybe not close on the expert of the UK stuff, but I mean the US stuff I'm even less knowledgeable on.
But I like nostalgia point of view, right? I mean, we all grew up listening to our North American Beatles albums. I had no idea the track listing was different. There was different albums. Even the Beatles didn't know when they were in North America.
But you Canadians had different stuff too, though.
Yeah.
You had like Long Tall Sally and
that's right. And Twist and Shout was another one. I think Twist and Shout
was
actually
great.
Twist and Shout. The original Twist and Shout came out before any other Beatles record in North America, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that like what the T4000s? Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
The T4000.
Yeah, I have a 1983 reissue of that. It sounds great, but yeah. So I think Canada was the first to get a Beatles album before the States. But I want to ask the viewers, now that we know this is going to happen again, the stuff was off that I showed you guys was off the Beatles website. This isn't BS, not made up stuff. But I mean, what you're seeing here was a screenshots off the Beatles website. So it will be happening at some point. They took it down. That happens a lot. These companies do these big beta tests, and someone clicks on the wrong button, and they show up and they don't realize.
Well, I'm wondering that's what happened with that Mariah Carey Christmas album.
It's beta tests. That's all it is, right? I do believe that will happen at some point as well. So anyone that's watching, will you be buying this 64? Was it 6 albums, Michael? 6 altogether plus
it's
the
6
Beatles
albums
story?
that were all issued in 64. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
I'm gonna buy a couple.
Well, we don't know if it's going to be a box or single, but I bet you. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, look at the Rhino model. They got the box.
They're gonna
ZZ Top. They'll have the singles, right?
There was a video they posted that I saw that said, and if you buy the box set as a bonus, you get the other one. So I think there is going to be individual titles.
Okay. Yeah, I think
I'll buy 65 and just kind of.
65. Yeah. I like. 65
and Hard Day's Night for me. Although half of Hard Day's Night is instrumental.
You're right, David Schwartz. It is 6,000. 4,000 was the Electras. So I got my.
I want to say I saw this here. Where did I see this here? Where did it say in the blog here? Yeah. So only be able separately. There'll also be a box set containing all 6 LPs on the card. So they're not. It's not known yet if it's separately or known. So okay. It makes sense to be separately as well. Like there's some people though, just like I said, I want to buy Beatles 65 or they want to buy Meet the Beatles. I don't know. We'll see.
I would be surprised if they do individuals and press them at Jeezy and sell them for $24.99 and they don't print forever.
So the albums, you said the albums that they're doing is the first 6 that were released?
Let me show them. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, show me again, please.
Yeah. So Meet the Beatles, something new. First 2, and then they've got there I'm duplicating.
So when they did like
album,
for instance,
Beatles 65.
When they did Revolver, when they did, the White Album, etc., how come they're not releasing those? Because you'd feel like Capitol would have, or is this coming from Apple?
60th anniversary is why.
Okay, gotcha.
Anniversary, yeah.
Because I'm thinking like everyone wants the original mono box to be pressed, and that's probably not going to be happening
It's all
anytime soon.
coinciding with Disney and 60th anniversary U.S. tour, the movies that are coming out in Disney Plus, all that stuff. This is a big marketing machine. Disney is a big marketing machine, guys. So I think this is what you're seeing with Universal as well. They're marketing, making money while they can. The baby boomers are still alive. They're still buying Beatles records. I think they're wanting to capitalize on that, and
they need that pension money.
Maybe.
So what you're saying is you can get the U.S. mono Beatles albums in print, but you can't get the UK Apple UK mono albums in print. So
these are nice. These are the
they're not in print.
Well, no,
they're not in print. So I'm gonna be able to go out and buy shitty sounding versions of like Beatles for sale.
I brought the Beatles mono and CD because when Steve Hoffman was on, he said this is the best sounding Beatles that he's ever heard.
Did that come with a little USB dongle?
No, it did
not. The stereo box came.
Stereo did. This is the mono.
Stereo, okay.
Those were at 16 and then 48K.
I haven't even opened my. There's a booklet in here. It's still in the shrink. I haven't even opened it yet. Never looked at it.
Well, I mean, it pains me to say this, but when I was at Pacific Audio Fest, one of the record dealers guy, he had the single of the Sgt. Pepper in mono, and so I bought the single one from the box set. I guess I don't know if he just bought it as an individual, but it cost me $1 or $2.
Hey, you brought home some records. You were telling me that's awesome.
I did bring home some
You need to sell some more record players now. Pay for all that. Pay for that trip.
Well, that's just it. So it was funny because I was in the room. We had just finished doing our setup for the stereo, and everyone was kind of doing their shop talk, and I was mentioning how I'm definitely running out of floor space at my house here to put all my records basically. And so I'm like, well, it's at the point now where either I need to put something in storage or I just need to move and get a bigger house to accommodate my records. And 2 minutes later, I'm walking around the show and I walk into the room where they're selling all this stuff. And I have this list. I call it my accountability list, where it's 2,000 albums or whatever that I want to try and buy. So whenever I walk into a store, I kind of hand the guy this list so that way they can curate it for me. And I try and stay really accountable to it, because if I walk into a store and the guy just tries to sell me anything, I'll buy the whole bloody store. So if it's not on the list, I don't get it. So I handed my list to this guy, I handed my list to the other record dealer that was there. I don't know. And 15 records later, they both send me these little text messages basically, oh, we found these records. So walked back into the room basically where everyone was, and they just started to harp on me. They're like, oh, we thought you didn't have any room for records. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a junkie. It's I can't help myself. It's a problem.
I might want to do that show on A&E, the Hoarders show. I might want to start a show, go around North America, and record hoarders, vinyl record hoarders, and do a show and go into each person's house and then put it on their channel. I'm not a
hoarder. I mean,
that'd be fun.
My better half would tell me otherwise. I'm not really a hoarder so much as I'm a collector, right? It's not like it's rubbish. If I die, someone will benefit from it.
Not hoarding. You can walk around the room.
Oh yeah, I can still walk around the room.
I can walk around this room. I have to avoid a few things, but I can still walk around the room.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a treadmill, I can walk all day. Not necessarily around the room, but at least I'm moving my feet, right? That's all that matters.
Let's get to Patrick's idea today. I think we had enough Beatles talk. Everyone said enough Beatles talk, but do all remastered albums sound better than the original? We've had our news, and we'll have some picks as well. But before we start that, couple things I want to show you. I want to ask everyone if you've been buying this. You know how I follow the Acoustic Sounds, their top, what is it, 50 bestsellers, whatever. I'm just going to give you guys the top 10 quickly here. Let me know if you have any of them, or if you do, what your thoughts are. 8 through 10, Bill Evans Trio. Bill Evans Trio has really come down since last week. Michael, Stone Temple Pilots Core. That was Waltz for Debbie, number 8. Number 9, Stone Temple Pilots Core. Sarah Vaughn, How Long Has This Been Going On? Pablo, $40. That's a good deal, huh? That was number 10. 5 through 7. Look at that. The Doors LA Woman. 45 RPMs at number 5.
That's what you should be buying.
I think so. Chico Freeman.
Yeah.
Number 7, Foreigner.
Are you kidding me?
What? What's
Foreigner?
wrong with that? Yeah.
Really?
They just
Look at this. Look at this. So a new entry, the Velvet Underground Loaded, Atlanta 7545. I want to get that.
I want that.
I want that. Stone Temple Pilots Purple. I just listened to that last week. Sounds great. And then number one still, LA Woman, The Doors. There it is.
You could buy
I've
two
got
of the
it.
45 RPMs for the cost of one UHQR.
Right? I know.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I feel like I'm getting flogged right now because I got that thing.
Which
So,
one?
I've got both. I've got the 45 and I've got the UHQR.
Which do you prefer?
You don't need both.
I mean, it depends on what it. The UHQR definitely sounds. How do I say this? It sounds like it's a more modern recording. So I mean, it just sounds different in that regards. So like I did a little A/B, and the 45 definitely sounds more true to form. I don't want to say that the UHQR sounds like a reimagined, but yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I got this little unit called a True Lift, which kind of lifts up my tone arm at the end of the record.
Yeah.
And since I've got that, listening to 45s is not such a pain.
He didn't send me that yet for mine. Thanks a lot, Joe.
You know what? I bought that with my own cold hard cash.
It's an aftermarket. Yeah.
It's probably one of the best additions to my whole system that I've ever got. I could probably get you a homie hookup on it though.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, right? I mean, they're all.
Oh, dude,
they're all
it's the
manuals,
worst.
so you
And
gotta
it was actually really funny. My girlfriend, same thing. Like I'll be sitting on my couch, I'll be doing my thing. Suddenly the record gets to the end.
12
and,
minutes.
You hear the tick, 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 and she's like, "Your record is spinning." And as soon as I got this unit, I got it all set up. It did one little tick, and then it lifted it up. And it was like she didn't know what to do with herself. She was having a conniption because she was so instinctive to chew me out that my record was spinning, and now suddenly it wasn't. It was a beautiful moment. So
I think Audio Technica makes that, correct?
no, this one's made from literally. It's called. I'll find out the name of it. It's called the True Lift. It's out of Canada. There's another one called My Little Friend, and they actually spell it like FWEND.
How easy was it to install?
It was pretty easy. It comes with blue tack, and the blue tack was kind of a joke. I just got some double-sided tape, put it on the bottom of it, and it requires a little bit of fidgeting. I had that thing pretty much dialed in within about 15 minutes, and I could go grab it here. Well, I guess I should.
I'll tell you what. Well, Joe's getting that. I'll tell you what I do, Steve. I have a turntable that has an auxiliary remote start-stop, but I have it by my sitting position. So it's a Technics SB10. So I have this.
Let me just hang on.
See, it's a remote start-stop, and I can actually start. It's wired, and I can stop my SB10.
It's like an old remote control from the 1970s TV.
It is. It's actually part of the turntable, yeah. And I can actually stop it when it finishes on my turntable. On my listening system.
Steve, if you Google search Integrity Hi-Fi .ca, it's their True Lift, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it because that involves me having to remove it, and then I have to reset it up again.
If you want to type that in the comments for people.
I can do that for you.
All right, so awesome. We're going to go to do all remastered albums sound better than the original. I'm going to start because this is interesting. Anyone an Emmylou Harris fan?
I like Emmylou Harris.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, take it or leave it.
I've got an original Lead Hotel, 1975. Beatles connection. She sang Here, There, and Everywhere on side 2. Produced by Brian Ahern, I believe was her husband at the time. He produced most of her records, if not every single record, with a lot of 3 different reverbs throughout the production. So when you listen to Elite Hotel, the remasters on digital, the reverbs sort of blend into one. So if you listen to an original, you really hear the way it should be produced, the way it was produced by Brian. So I will tell you, having an original definitely beats the remastered version, especially on these Emmylou Harris records. Now, of course, I'm not comparing apples to apples, obviously, but this is my original Canadian. Big fan. Great album. Sounds great. Elite Hotel.
In my opinion, that's pretty much going to be the case across the board.
You hear the reverb. You don't hear the reverb on the digital remasters. It's just not there. It's
that's one thing about
blended together.
That's one thing about digital in that era. Yeah. That's one thing that everyone talks about is like you don't hear like the cymbals trailing off and that kind of stuff. It doesn't sound as good that way, and that's why the capture, if you need to capture at least like at 24, 192 or DSD, because then you capture all of that. If you capture lower than that, then you're not really getting all that sound, in my opinion. From my experience from doing vinyl rips for like 16 years.
And I will say this really captured the authenticity of the record and what was off those tapes at the time.
Exactly,
and the way it
John.
was produced. Amazing.
The decay is what you lose. Yes.
And that's exactly, there it is. But I mean, that's one example right now, Patrick. I will say there's no way this original is gonna lose to any other if remastered out there. Just not gonna happen.
There's so many examples of this. I could have pulled most of my collection out and said, hey, this is better than that. But I mean, there's two different things to talk about. Is like, you may have, like say, like I can sit there and say like the Big Star first pressing is like way better.
That's a craft, right? Hang on, put that up.
Yeah, that's a craft, but I've had the original many times.
Let me see that. I like that album.
So, but to get an original from Ardent pressed by Larry Nix, it's going to cost you like $300 to $400 these days. So you're not going to be able to get that. So this is a compromise. So there's different categories. This is a compromise that sounds pretty good, but not as good as the original. So but here's an example of something that the reissue sounds horrible and the original sounds amazing. That is the Black Crowes Southern Harmony and Music Companion. The UK first press is amazing. The 2-album reissue is horrible, absolutely stunningly bad. But
so okay, stop you right there. What are you hearing? Okay, bad, but what is it? What do you mean by bad? Explain to me what the differences are.
Closed off. Okay. I haven't listened to those listening tests in quite some time, but closed off, brick walled. I mean, like not brick walled, but because you can't really brick wall an album, but boosted. They compress it and then boost it so it's louder on the album. So no dynamic range. I mean, if anyone's ever heard this UK version and compared it to the 2 LP reissue, which I was like all stoked for, like on 2 LPs, 52-minute album, I'm all in. This sounds so much better.
So that's the Black Crowes UK original, or original, right?
Yes, that's the original European pressing of the Black Crowes.
Michael T, what did you bring?
I don't have any specific examples off the top of my head. But I mean, to me, it's a mixed bag. There are some where the original sounds better, and there are some where the reissue sounds better. It depends who cut it, what the source was. In some cases, some originals had like bottom end maybe cut out a little. It just depends on the title. Some had noisier pressings. There's so many variables. It's hard for me to just make one example and stick with it.
Now, I'm talking about rock and roll. About jazz albums is a whole different story. I think a lot of the jazz reissues are better than what I've heard of the originals. I'm not a jazz guy, but jazz is a whole different, like when you talk about bass being shaved and stuff, that's very true. That's a whole different kettle of worms. I'm talking about basically classic rock stuff. Jazz stuff, I mean, the stuff I hear of the reissues being done by Music Matters and by Blue Note, the Tone Poets, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not a big jazz guy, but the few comparisons I've done, those things are actually, to me, sound better.
I mean, I don't think you can obviously just paint it with the same brush and whatnot. Obviously, there's going to be this and that. Like, for instance, I've got I don't want to say it's an original press, but an early Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon Canadian pressing, But then I also have I think it's the 30th anniversary cut that everyone and their dog thinks is the greatest and whatnot.
Kevin Gray cut that.
Correct. I mean, apart from the original having a few more pops and clicks and a little bit more noisy, just because of when it was pressed, it's very, very, very similar.
Well, that's another case of source, though. I mean, like the Dark Side of the Moon is a well-recorded album. It's hard to find a shitty sounding version of Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, it's just a great sounding record. So
correct. And again, and like, I mean, when you watch Michael from the In Groove, he did his kind of best of, and he said that was apart from the original UK. I mean, the one that I've got is fantastic. Again, also the same thing. So I subscribe to the Analog Productions 45 subscription. So I'm getting all of them from.
I have those as well. Yes.
You get the numbered copies.
I get the numbered copies. Correct. One of the perks, actually, this is something that a lot of people don't know. If you are part of any of their subscriptions, so whether it be the Acoustic Sounds or Atlantic 75 rather, or a few of their other ones, they pretty much guarantee you a lower UHQR number if you request it. So if you're part of a subscription, you can reach out to them, say, hey, I'm part of your subscriptions. Whenever they do a new UHQR pressing, they'll make sure that you've got a low number. So that's a little hot tip to kind of subscribe to their subscription.
But do you really have a low number album or just a low number jacket?
Of course not. No, you got a low number jacket. They don't have the time to make sure that that happens. But you know,
I think Music Matters actually used to.
People act like it matters, but I mean, for resale on the resale market, it matters. Face value. So their analog productions, 45 of it. Everyone, their dog ranted and raved about this. I found that they cut it very, very quiet, and
compared to the original.
And I've got a tube phono stage, so because of that, if you have a solid state, that might be great. But when you've got a tube one, now I'm suddenly having to crank up the volume a lot more on my actual amp, and I'm hearing way more tube noise. So my original Canadian picked up at a garage sale
for like $2.
Exactly, sounds just as good, if not better. And the crappy thing is, I found that particular Atlantic 75 is the only one that is cut that quiet. Don't know why, but they did. They said, "Oh, we can cut it."
I think that was cut from a copy tape, so I think that was one of the things. It was cut.
Yeah,
from a
maybe, but I mean, they could. I mean,
tape.
There's room in the grooves. It's not like it's at 45 RPM, but they've still got like a lot of plastic to deal with. There was no need that they had to cut it that low.
No.
I want to say it's like 5 decibels. It's shitty.
Is Face Value the one where it's limited to time? It's the license lasts for another 6 months,
so.
and then it's
so.
And then it's punted type of thing. Is that the
one?
one?
I believe it was. Yeah. So I mean, apart from the whole getting up and if you go to the gym and it's leg day and it's a real pain in the ass to have to get up and down, I would still go for this 9 times out of 10. So if anyone wants my low pressing copy of it.
So you're staying with the 1981 original Canadian.
I'm staying with the original Pops and Clicks. You bet. That the one that's sponsored by Kellogg's, because it's Snap, Crackle, and Pops. Yeah, that's the one I'm going for.
Well, you paid $2 for it. Mine doesn't have any Snap, Crackles.
I might have paid $2.50, and that's Canadian dollars. So that's like.
I think I got mine for about $5, so not bad.
Yeah, but there's also examples where there are multiple reissues. I'll give you an example. Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. A lot of people say the original UK sounds great. The latest remaster in 2016 of Wish You Were Here was a digital cut by Bernie Grunman. However, the ones people prefer the most for Wish You Were Here are the CBS Master Sound Half Speed and also the Nimbus Supercut.
Patrick's shaking his head right now.
Yeah. I mean, those are the two top ones. The Nimbus Supercut, that was 1,000 copies.
I had the Nimbus. I sold the Nimbus about a year ago. I do love the Nimbus. The Nimbus sounds great.
There's one on Discogs for 3,800. I mean,
I sold too soon. But I mean, that's one of those records that I waited a long time to get again. I had it once and I got rid of it, and I got it again, and then finally someone made me an offer I couldn't refuse. But yeah,
Patrick, I want to lead into this one because this will be the Record Keeper Peepethal in general. What do you think about the Neil Young remasters compared to
great.
The originals?
Those are freaking great. I mean, I've only done maybe 2 direct comparisons where I like take my rips of each and actually level match them, all that stuff. But I mean, the one I have all of them, even from I think I have up to 21. I'm looking at them right here.
Chris Bellman remaster, right, or cut and remaster. Yeah.
So I thought those were great. I thought those were really good. It probably true to the originals, but with a little bit better clarity.
I don't need any reissues. This is my original Neil Young.
Get if you don't have
the Gold Rush. Why would you need a reissue when you have the
actual
original? This is
Artisan
awesome.
Sound. That was cut at Artisan.
Artisan, amazing.
Yeah,
can't get better.
Do you have Decade? Do you have Decade? Steve?
I have Decade.
Yeah,
Decade is probably one of the best greatest hits compilations ever put together. It sounds fantastic, and I got that one at Goodwill for all of 85 cents.
Well, Steely Dan Greatest Hits, cut by Robert Ludwig, one of the best sounding versions of those songs you'll ever hear. So that's another thing where you can find
and they're cheap, right?
Oh, well,
Cheap like
nowadays
borscht.
they're getting more expensive now to find a Columbia Santa Maria cut by Robert Ludwig on all four
They're
sides.
going up now, yeah.
Thanks to the idiots on YouTube, right?
So somebody brought up Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which is interesting because the original UK has a very different sound, and I have the Super Disc and I have the Speaker's Corner, and those all three of them have their own different sound to them. It's one of those things where it's, you know, whatever your preference is, they all three sound very good. They're all excellent sounding. And Direct Disc did some good stuff back in the day. They did Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and that was very good. They did Van Morrison Moon Dance, which is excellent. So is
there like a really good version of Layla that sounds good? Because I've went up the original UK and I bought a lot, and they just like
The original UK sounds good. I mean, it's not a well-recorded album, so I say sounds as good as it's going to get. Let me put it that way.
Okay,
but the Super Disc is also the Super Disc, which is not to be confused with the Nautilus. The Super Disc Direct Disc is actually also very good. They're probably about $50-$60. I haven't looked in a long time, but I have both of them. But yeah, they're affordable. They cost less than a UHQR, I would imagine.
So why was it such a poorly recorded album? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why he would...
I think that was recorded in Miami at what's that, Criterion? Was that recorded at Criterion by what's the guy that did Cream, the producer, Joe, can't remember his name. The guy Joe, what's his name, that did Cream. He was a super famous guy, but I think it was recorded at Criterion, and I think it just was really muddy. It sounded really muddy.
Okay. So mic pressing might be fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not a great sounding record. It's not a great sounding record at all, at least to me.
Jeffrey Bowman, I have a white label promo of Loaded. It's the only OG that really beats the new Atlantic 45 acoustic sound reissue for me, at least on my system.
The Atlantic 45 has been great for me.
Great. I love all my copies.
The Bad Company to me isn't as good as the UK, and that was kind of like but I thought it sounded great. Tom Dowd, that's it. Thank you, Cranberry Sauce. Tom Dowd, that's it. That's his name. Tom Dowd.
Thank you.
I love the series, but I mean, I signed up for it, but I kicked myself for paying $60 for a Foreigner reissue when I know that the original, like Foreigner 4, sounds amazing. But you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, you buy the series, you get what you get. You know, I've got a couple of jazz titles that I don't really care about, but I mean, overall, the series is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Been worth it for me.
Here's another one. This is a Robert Ludwig cut, Billy Joel, The Stranger. I don't think you can get better.
Yeah, that's phenomenal as well. I always look at Billy Joel albums when I'm looking at Record Source.
Get that.
See if I've got an RL. You
need the RL. You need the RL.
Although Ted Jensen cut the white label promo and it sounds really good too, but it's cut a lot hotter than that one is.
So here's a random thought here. So we've got the RL of The Stranger. You know, you've got RL Led Zeppelin. Has anyone that you guys are aware of, apart from having to go on the forums, you ask the questions, has anyone actually went out and just created a nice PDF online with all the, the run out groove information and the versions of the big hitters that you would want to have?
I wanted to make an app. I actually thought about making an app. That's like what I'm saying.
Because I go on Discogs and people, I don't like Discogs rating systems because it's out of 5. And I find that if it was out of 10, it would be a little bit more accurate, because the difference between a 2-star album and a 3-star album, that's a big gap. And so I'll often go on there to kind of see what people are rating albums for when I want to find a better pressing of it. And I mean, it would be nice that if I was digging to kind of know and have just a simple little list that I could go and check out and say, all right, here's 3 albums or 3 versions of it that don't sound like crap, and they're going to be good finds if you find them out in the wild. Because I've got 3 copies of The Stranger. I've got Mobile Fidelity one. I've got a master disc, I want to say, or
Master Sound, CBS Master Sound.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I've got just a random, crappy one, and they sound okay, but I mean, there's almost $200 worth of records right there. And I could probably find a better version at my local thrift store if I knew what to look for.
Well, not thrift stores anymore, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And
So
I agree with
But
Loper.
you could find that face value at the same store for you get a new copy of it for like $3 or $4 now too.
We talked about Rage Against the Machine last week when Levi Seitz was on. Probably one of the best sounding originals out there. I don't know how they're going to be able to beat that if they ever decide to remaster
which
that
one?
one.
Which
The
one?
Rage Against the Machine,
What, self-titled?
self-titled.
That was done by Robert Ludwig as well.
Yeah. Can I ask Patrick real quick? Patrick, why was there a Sterling and a master disc within months of each other for The Stranger?
I
What
don't
was the
know.
story?
That's a great question.
That's
I have
one
no
of
idea.
them. One was pulled. I heard one was pulled.
Did
What
it
was the
sell?
other?
Did it sell so much that they had multiple plants with multiple people cutting it? That happened. That happened back in the day.
I heard that they weren't happy with one of them. Is what I heard. And they pulled it
I've got the white label promo.
because there's a
that's done by
Ted Jensen,
Yeah, I've got the
Sterling,
Ted
and there's the RL. Yeah, I have both too.
Happy in what sense? Just didn't like the sound?
One of them was pulled, and they went. It was Phil Ramone, the producer, that didn't like one of them. That's what I heard.
But most of the Billy Joel's, I mean the RLs that I've seen of The Stranger are like -2A, -2B. They're not -1 anything. I've never seen a -1 anything cut by Robert Ludwig, so I don't know. So that's a great question though. I don't know. I should have asked. I've emailed him a few times and he's answered every question, but not since he's retired. But I should ask him that.
Led Zeppelin's House of the Holy was a Ludwig cut as well. Another great sounding one.
Also George Peckham cut it in the UK, and that sounds phenomenal. You can actually get a Portuguese pressing of it for pretty cheap. They ship the plates over to Portugal, but the George Peckham Porky version, it's like two different flavors of the same thing. It both sound amazing. So, and a lot of times in Germany, Atlantic would send over plates, U.S. plates over to Germany. So I don't know if your houses. Oh, you said Ludwig, yeah. So yeah, a lot of times they would send the plates over. So I've got like a David Crosby and a Deja Vu that are actually U.S. plates, but pressed on German vinyl. Very, very nice and quiet. So,
I mean, let's just put it this way: Zeppelin 2, the RL cut, that's not ever going to get beat by any remaster.
But that's not fair, though. That's one of those cases where
Still,
it costs you $1,000 to get it. It's not in print. That's why I would never include Led Zeppelin pressings versus the 2014 reissues, because those are in print. You can get them. They don't sound bad like the Pink Floyd reissues of like 2016 or whatever. They're in print. They don't sound bad. But to get the very best of those pressings, you're going to spend thousands of dollars. I mean, I just saw a Robert Ludwig press. Was it Presswell? That Mike from the In-Groove sold for like $1,500 on Sunday, so you're not going to be able to afford those. I'm just talking about people, who can find stuff. That's why I would never compare like something like that to a current reissue, because it's not really a fair fight.
I want to get Greg Helby on the show. I know Michael Fremer has talked about Greg before. I'd like to get him on. I would think that'd be really fun to learn about his mastering process.
He's one of those guys, again, that nobody talks about, kind of like Howie Weinberg, kind of like Bill Kipper, or Brian. Is it Bill or Brian Kipper? One of the two.
We don't talk about them. We don't talk about them because all the reissues have, there's four. It's pretty much four mastering engineers right now. That's pretty much the reason why. But Howie Weinberg, I mean, in his own right, is and still is an incredible engineer.
Gilbert Kahn,
he passed away though.
Yeah, so did, I mean, George Piros has passed away as well.
Yeah, Bill Kipper was at Masterdisc. He was quite good.
Yeah, he did a great version of Love Over Gold. I mean,
Fremer will probably want Greg on his channel, not mine. That's I won't probably.
Better get him quick there, Steve. It's a dog world in this YouTube
in the YouTube streaming platforms.
Absolutely,
you'll see in the title. So I got my 1989. Which one's the original? 89 original, and this is the Chris Bellman remaster. Bellman's is cut a little bit, I'd say, hotter, a little bit brighter. I like my original, and also because I've had it since 1989 and I know the sound. And maybe
so to be completely contrary to myself,
I don't know.
I mean, like the Bruce Springsteen Plangent Process, that box set to me sounds great. It sounds really good. I mean, that's a great reissue that hit all the marks for me.
Yeah.
So I thought that. So there's but I mean, in general though, you can't go wrong with a country of origin, original mastering. That's all. That should be your baseline for anything, at least if you're out there digging. Look where it was recorded. Look where it was mixed. Look where it was mastered. Look who mastered it. Those should be in your toolbox to go find stuff.
So, Patrick, I know Rick's is saying here, Plangent seems popular. Why are we not seeing more Plangent? We're seeing it with the Grateful Dead reissues. We saw it with Bruce Springsteen. We saw it with I want to say, was it Roxy Music came out with a plangent? Or am I wrong with that, Michael? Was the
I
Avalon?
don't know. I don't know if Roxy did,
No,
but
it
I know
wasn't.
why.
It
Because
wasn't. It wasn't. So, it wasn't.
it's because it costs money. It's not
Yeah.
free. You
And
gotta
I
hire it.
heard that Who's Next Planchet. That was the first one that I heard that I wasn't really that fond of. I wasn't really that fond of it. So, someone's bringing out the bulk.
Well, I think someone was in.
big guns.
I think someone was in Seattle buying records.
Yeah,
all
that's
weekend
exactly
when
that's
you should have been
exactly what I
selling
was
record
grabbing.
players.
I'm like, oh, you know what? I still have all those albums that I got in Seattle. So I might as well
John Ben, a
grab
good
them.
point, Steve. How much does I'm used to the original sound, and that's the thing with my
A lot of it.
Tom
Black
Petty.
Black Sabbath, the Black Sabbath versus the Rhino. That's a big one.
My Full Moon Fever. I know what the original sounds like. So you give me a remaster, I'm gonna tell. I can tell the difference. For sure. But that's the same thing, like you were saying with Black Sabbath, self-titled. Now, did we ever determine? Did you ever determine which one you liked the best out of the Rhino Hi-Fi and the UK Vertigo, Patrick?
I knew in the first 3 minutes which one I liked better.
So you're going UK Vertigo, is what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. That was a no-brainer for me.
In regards, do you for the Bad Company one there? Do you've got the 45 or the Rhino?
I have the 45. I have all the Atlantic 75s.
I have the
45,
Rhino.
Yes.
What subscription are you buying them individually, or did you actually?
No, I've got number 378. I think is my number.
Okay, well, I like to say, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Let me see what I got here.
I don't know. I think that's my number.
What did you guys? What did
I
you
know
guys?
from Toronto.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Yeah.
New
What did you
viewer.
guys think of Straight Shooter? I bought Straight Shooter too from Bad Company. Did you like that one?
I didn't get that one.
I just sold the Canadian pressing, by the way, of Straight Shooter, which was cut at the mastering lab by Doug Sachs. They had the US plates, and that sounded fucking phenomenal. I mean,
I meant the 45 RPM, the acoustic sounds. What did you think of that?
I've not listened to it yet.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, but I know the original sounds great.
Yeah, it does. That's why TML.
Yeah.
Michael, it was the Who's. Next was the plangent process. That's the one I was thinking of. That Miles show.
I didn't like that
speed
one.
Cut.
I didn't like that one.
A lot of people didn't.
And I really wanted to, because I was on the panel with that guy. We talked. He's a cool dude. He knows his shit. Way more than me.
But it wasn't Jamie's fault. It was John Astley that remastered it, and he got a finished product.
Did you come on the show when we had the plangent process on?
I was on.
Yeah,
I was
on.
on. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not the
my
plangent
numbers.
process.
It was a good show.
So there.
Are we just showing numbers? I know. I mean, Tublandy. I know Tublandy. I mean, he's got 420 all through.
420. See, now we're
bad.
talking. That's a good
Well,
number on multiple levels.
if anyone needs 420, it's Tublandia.
Oh,
Steve, are you going to give us hints for the new hi-fis? I did the unveiling or boxing video with Patrick, so that comes out at 5:45 a.m. on Friday.
Patrick, and I think you're talking about me, and I'm like going,
Americana. It's the month, right? So think out of the box. Don't think rock and roll. How's that? Don't think.
I'm going to show you a band that needs a reissue series that no one talks about ever, and that is this one right here.
Speaker's Corner.
I've got the Speaker's Corner. This blows the.
Okay, which one? Okay, what is this? What is it?
This is the original UK.
Yeah. I mean, Ken Scott was a producer on that one. I mean, he blew it away. It's incredible.
This sounds phenomenal. I mean, the Speaker's Corner sounds okay, but not for the price you're going to pay for it. But this one is amazing, and there's never been a really great reissue of this album or Breakfast for America, even the Nimbus for that matter.
I don't know, Steve. You got the same one as me for that Supertramp. That sounds friggin' fantastic. Where is it? This one right here.
The Canadian A&M. Yeah.
Oh, that's the audio
too.
That's what I call our Canadian. Put it up, Joe. That's our Canadian MoFi. So
it is
in Japan, weren't they?
JVC Super Vinyl, same vinyl MoFi or MFSL used in the
I've got this one, and then I've also got
six had a series for that too, right?
I've also got this one too. Do you have all of them, Steve?
So put that, I do, but put that one up. That one is pretty much a mobile fidelity because that was actually half-speed cut by Stan Ricker from the original master tapes, and MoFi didn't do that one, but A&M Audiophile series did.
It sounds great.
It's a good record.
Yeah, it's. You got to come up to the Okanagan here, my friend. Bring your golf clubs, and we will have a good jam session.
I lived in Okanagan. They had Sticks. They had Supertramp. What else did they have? There was a couple.
Supertramp.
Yeah,
the police. The police.
There was did they do the Cars?
There was also
Carpenters. Yes, I have the Carpenters.
The Carpenters. I have the greatest hits. Carpenters. I have the whole series, and I'd have to go back and look, but yeah. I think there's 4 or 5 Styx albums, 3 or 4 Police albums.
I can't stand the MoFi Supertramp personally. I just can't. That era of MoFi to me is just like horrible, absolutely horrible.
The EQ choices you're hearing though, right?
Yeah, it's the whole Goldwing fucking thing. Yeah, I just don't like. I mean, some people love it. I just don't. It's just not for me. If you guys like it, that's great, but it's just not for me.
So, Michael, another thing, another rumor that's been around for a long time. This whole RIA code for the CBS half-speed masters that were cut years ago.
Oh, the rumor that they were not doing the half-speed correct?
So I will tell you that's not true. I talked to Vlad O'Meller again. He says there's no way that was the case. Otherwise, the A&R guy would have been fired. They would never release this. There was an issue with equalization. He calls complete bullshit on that.
And you know what? Steve shared the email with me that Vlad sent him. They weren't sitting there manually making half-speed EQ cuts. They had a JVC who invented quad for records. They had a JVC half-speed equalizer that had presets already set in it for half-speed cutting. So there was no way to mess it up.
I propose, Steve, since we've done this in the past, we've done a shootout in the past. I have in my possession the half-speed master of Band on the Run. I also have the Nimbus cut and the UK first pressing. So I propose that we do a shootout episode one of these days.
You want to do a shootout?
We blind test everybody and say, which one do you prefer?
If I get 20 people in the chat saying yes, and we'll do it. I want to see 20 thumbs up for this blind shooter, the Band on the Run.
I'm pretty sure you can get 20, no problem.
So getting back to CBS half-speed masters, according to Vlado, Michael, and you'll second this, not true. The equalization was not messed up the first time around. He calls BS
again, I'll repeat it. JVC made a proprietary equalizer that was already pre-programmed for half-speed cutting. It wasn't an engineer manually making adjustments.
So if you have there's two cuts, the 1980 and it was an 82 CBS half-speed. The 1980s are cheaper, I think, on Discogs. Grab one right now.
For which one? You wish you were here?
Yeah, I wish you were here.
I will say, in my opinion, I don't care what the issue is. I've heard lots of them, and none of them to me sound better than other versions that I've heard in my lifetime. That's just my opinion. But I mean, especially like Born to Run sounds absolutely horrendous.
Yeah,
horrible.
There's only two I like. I like Wish You Were Here and Abraxas. Those are good.
You know, The Stranger sounds horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I like I said, and it's also, I mean, take everything on a case-by-case basis. I mean, literally, sometimes, you know, even Ron McMaster gets lucky once in a while and masters something good. You know, kind of like the Yes album done on Friday Music, which was okay, which was actually my go-to until like the Atlantic 75. But yeah, I mean, if you like it, you like it, and everything's on a case-by-case basis. But in my opinion, most of those CBS half-speed masters are not that great, and I've listened to them, and they're, you know, I don't care what the reason is, and you know, so.
Although I will tell you, I prefer Bridge Over Troubled Water on the CBS versus the MoFi box.
I haven't heard that one. I've not heard that one.
So Patrick, Noah, I haven't seen Noah on the show before, so thank you for joining. He's asking a question. Maybe you can answer that. Wondering why all new vinyl releases are making a lot of AAA mastering, etc.
That's good.
You know, that's a good thing. What's wrong with that?
We want them to be AAA because they probably finally started listening. That people. So I've said this before. When like the whole pandemic and people started buying records again, I used to see younger kids and younger people going in and buying just whatever they could find on the shelves and not caring about the sound quality. And a lot of them, I think, went home and heard it and said, this sounds like shit. And now they started caring. So they started buying like the originals and all that stuff, which pisses me off. But I mean, it's kind of nice that, you know, people are actually starting to care again about sound quality, at least a little bit.
And this is the thing about younger generation too. I mean, I had a late show last week, and I was sort of getting into that. The younger generation starting to appreciate sound and the warmth of vinyl, and a lot of these younger people are buying vinyl without a record player because they're saving up to buy a decent system, which I respect.
Well, so I think that
they appreciate and understand the quality of a vinyl record, especially a AAA mastering. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, the price of the records now are just getting so ridiculous that if I'm going to be dropping $40 or $60 or whatever it is on a single disc pressing, it better sound good. So I'm sure there was probably a little bit of an outcry at first when it was starting to become a little bit more of a fad and people were still able to get albums for cheap, they weren't as probably demanding because the aspect of just buying it on vinyl was so cool enough. But now that they've almost doubled in price, they better do that. And it's the same thing as probably, I realize it's maybe a strange analogy, but even with movies, when they're trying to be faithful to the books, the people who are way more appreciative of them being faithful to the source material are normally the biggest fans, and normally the films are better that way too. When they start to divulge and just not really care about the source material, and in this case being AAA or whatever, that's when people have an issue with it. I have yet to find an album that's been reimagined that people like better than the source.
Like the whole Beatles remix, the reimagined stuff that's going on
there's
there.
There's not a single person who likes it more. Like
but nowadays, young kids are like going, from what I see, young kids are going to record stores. Instead of buying like a $30 Taylor Swift album, they can go and buy 10 $3 records of like Alan Parsons or whatever, and then take them home and go, wow, this actually sounds like. I've seen so many younger kids that are like getting into that kind of that later music because I can get a hold of it easier at the record store. It's amazing when I see kids buying like Depeche Mode and all sorts of stuff like at the record store. I'm going, really? You're buying Depeche Mode? So
good luck finding a Depeche Mode out in the wild.
Yeah, that was
a horrible example. Shame on you.
Sorry, but it did happen. I saw they bought a Smiths album and a Depeche Mode album. I was mad because they got to it before I did.
Oh, that's what the real reason. That's funny.
I was like going, damn.
I was at a record show in Vancouver, lined up to get in, and everyone wanted original Depeche Mode. That was the first thing they were rushing to with all the different tables. Do you have Depeche Mode? Do you have the Smiths? I mean, those are the big two. All those, if there were any OGs, they were all sold out right out of the gate. You got to line up earlier just to get in and asking for those ones. So that's probably.
There's another box set suggestion.
So Depeche Mode, Smiths, Joy Division, New Order. Those are the ones I want to see in box sets. Rhino,
what's funny, Steve? Yesterday I went and visited my son, who's a freshman in college.
I saw that.
We went to a record store, and he asked me to get him the Joy Division Unknown Pleasures T-shirt. He's like, I want this. This is cool. So I got it for him. So the 18-year-olds, they want Joy Division, Depeche Mode. You're right. Smiths.
Well, when Levi Seitz was on last week, one of the viewers, younger, I guess Gen Z, was like, if Taylor Swift, they did a Taylor Swift one step, it would sell, 10,000 or 100,000 to probably sell in the first hour. And I think he's probably right.
But people wouldn't even know what the heck a one step was. They would just be buying it for the resale value. I mean, no joke, the most valuable record that I have in my collection, according to Discogs, is a Taylor Swift album.
Is it their art record store day, the sessions, whatever it was?
No, that one's worth about, let's say,
300,
and that's only 10% of the value of the one. You guys want to see it? I'll grab it for you. The most expensive.
It's the most expensive in your collection. He said, "Is that what he said?"
Yeah. The most valuable one that I've got in my collection is worth $3,000.
Let's see this thing. A $3,000 record. Ooh.
I'd sell it right now.
I've got it for sale, but nobody's bought because
so it's not really worth $3,000 unless somebody pays.
Only worth what someone's going to buy it. It's like
most it's ever gone for, but
it's like a stock market.
The median price is about $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready to see it?
I'm gonna put you full screen because this is big. $3,000 records on the show. OMG.
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of backstory on it real quick. There's two versions of this. There's the one that I've got here, and the only version of this that you can buy in the stores pretty much is a picture disc. And of course, picture discs, everyone knows, are just the best sounding quality that everyone loves. And I'm being facetious, obviously. So this Reputation. So it's on her old label, which she now hates and will never, ever...
Big Machine, right?
Big Machine despises them with a burning passion. And this one was a limited edition, not picture disc, on orange vinyl. And so it sounds half decent for...
So it has sold for $3,000 in Discogs, huh?
Yeah, but all the Swifties are mad at that label now, so they won't buy it.
They will never... Well, she'll also never approve of them to reissue it ever again. So there's scarcity.
Jeffrey Beaumont, you should have held on. You sold it for $80, man. You should have held on.
Jeffrey, oh.
Hey, I'll show you some things I have that are worth quite a bit.
Sure.
Ready?
Hang on.
I have my original I got it in person when I worked in radio. My original.
Howie Weinberg cut
Let me
that.
show you the promo stamp. Can you see that on the back?
Oh, that's
Ooh.
nice.
Never mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Michael stole it from
gold
the radio
foil?
station.
It
Clearly.
was given to me.
Okay.
I have this. This is also in the thousands. Tool Enema.
Yeah, there you go.
Love
This
it.
is worth a lot. I'll show you something else I have, and I got this autograph in person. I have an autographed version of Lou Reed's promo New York. It says,
What's it
"To
say
Mike,
there? I can't see it. What's it say?
Mike, my best, Lou Reed."
Amazing.
That's cool.
Are we
Yeah.
pulling out stuff? Is that what we're doing?
Let's do
Well,
it.
Joe started it,
We're
so
not-
I follow.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to whip it out. Sorry.
I'm bigger than your. I'm not going to go there.
I like. Oh, he's turned off the camera. Okay.
Well, he turned it off. He's
getting
Welcome
all
to
fine
Full
stuff.
Out Records.
We
He's
better get
not-
ready.
He's probably not wearing pants. He doesn't want to
Oh
get up,
my
right?
goodness.
To go and
He's
grab the
going-
stuff.
Yeah, it's a flex session, as somebody just said.
Yeah.
Like Leland says,
exactly.
flexing.
Joe, see what
Yeah.
you started?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Well, you know,
Oh my God.
while he's doing that real quick, I'll show you what I grabbed while I was in Seattle. If you guys want to see, for
Yeah, I'd love to. I already know
Yeah.
how you.
All
I'm
right.
excited to see it. I haven't
These
seen
ones
them.
are not
Hey,
actually.
did you buy these from the guy named Alan, Joe?
I know when you walk in there and you're facing the wall. I bought them
Yeah.
from both. In reality,
Oh, but there were a
The
few
guy
dollars there,
yeah. So,
yeah.
so again, I basically, if anyone wants this, I'll be happy to do it. I went online. I grabbed the Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums, all different releases.
Yeah.
I went on. I basically have a list of well over 3,000. Oh, ooh, that's
Okay,
good.
okay,
See if I can
Patrick,
find the-
PB call
see
flex.
if I can find
Flex.
the number right here.
It's
Oh,
zero
wow.
zero
That
zero
number.
8522.
Wow.
Oh, so what is that valued at, Patrick, on Discogs?
I don't know. This is a top loader. This is
This is
all
like-
the inserts.
I feel like I'm in elementary school. My dad's stronger than your dad.
Yeah, that's
He's got a
exactly
better
it.
record player. Hang on.
I got you guys all talked though.
Love it.
PMC 7068. This is an original mono.
Vinyl
Pretty
looks
much
nice.
pristine. Probably only been played a couple of times.
Yep.
And in the 8,000s. I've never seen one lower than this.
So what
You
does
know
that
what
go
though,
for?
Patrick?
Yeah.
I have Donnie and Marie. I bet you don't have this.
Oh wow.
Hey,
that's-
I've got. I've
Whoa,
got.
with the price
whoa,
tag on it
hang
still.
on a second.
$1. I paid $1.
Deep
for it.
purple.
I have "Meet Me
There
in
you go.
Montana" by Marie Osmond, the 45.
Okay,
I have "Meet Me
all
in
right.
Montana."
Now we're going in the opposite direction.
You know what? That's funny though. I mean, I get so much pleasure from albums that cost like $2-3.
Too,
As
yeah.
much pleasure as I get from albums that might cost like $1,000, like
Yeah.
like the Zombies, Odyssey, and Oracle. I get just as much pleasure from Marshall Tucker or Carolina Dreams as I do from that record. So it doesn't matter what it costs. The music is what matters at the end of the day.
No one missed it at the top. Yes, the original U.S. Beatle albums, AAA, third gen Capitol, are being reissued, remastered, reissued, cut to vinyl. Master engineer is a fellow by the name of Kevin Reeve from Universal's Nashville studio. And just, if you guys are running late, I'll just show you what it's going to look like. Box set, they'll probably sell individual ones, but that's what it looks like, captured off of the Beatles website before it went off the website. for
Okay,
whatever
I'll be quick with these pickups. So, boom.
Well, tell us what you have, though.
That Ainsley Dunbar.
Yeah, the Hangman's Beautiful Daughter, the incredible string band.
That's a really cool album cover. Really, look at the kid's
It is.
mask.
I
Look
mean,
at the
the
mask he
music
has
is-
there. Look at that.
This is not necessarily the most life-changingly audiophile record, but I mean,
It's interesting.
if you
Is that a UK or is that a
era
US?
UK?
Yeah.
I
Is that
mean,
UK? Yeah.
yeah, it's not a UK. It's a US pressing.
What were
None
they
of
on,
these-
Is that Capitol? What was that on in the US?
This was on Elektra.
Electra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably a 4,000 series, I bet. Forever Changes. Is that an original gold label?
Let's find out together.
You don't know?
I
You
know.
didn't look?
I didn't do my homework.
I'll just buy this because it's. Oh, hang on. Look-
Oh, that's a butterfly.
It's a butterfly.
This is maybe a second pressing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't have the Encyclopedia Britannica brain that Patrick has, so I've just
You need,
got a list.
all you need to do, you just text Patrick prior to you going to the record show or just when you're there.
People do that a lot.
Although Patrick, for the second pressing, did they use the same plates? They might have.
I don't know.
White Pony.
That's what I was wondering. If it says Columbia Santa Maria and has like Mon,
Yeah.
is it Mon or Mon-1?
Hey, Joe, is that Deftones an original pressing?
It is. I don't think it is. In fact, I guarantee it's not.
Hope you didn't pay too much for it.
I didn't. This whole thing, once you convert my whole bill, once I converted it to Canadian bucks, probably cost me about $1,000. But
How many
as
records
long
did
as-
you buy then?
well, there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, he had a big stack.
I don't know,
Pretty
probably
impressive.
15, 16.
I
I'll make
would
it
say-
quick. I'll do this. Will be flash.
The big
What's
gun.
that?
What is that?
Great question.
Is
So
that a comp?
Hang on, I want to see this full.
basically,
No, it's soundtrack music. Okay.
there you go.
Ennio Morricone, yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you the spiel. So this has been a great way. Speaking of kind of like discovering music, so because I basically grabbed all these greatest albums, 1001 albums to hear before you die, all those things, and I basically compiled the list, deleted all the duplicates, and I got like 3,500 albums. Probably is.
We got a Zorn fan. We got a Zorn fan.
Oh, it's good shit. Sorry, I didn't read the good part.
Good shit.
That's Zorn is shit. So I've compiled all these lists, and what I've done is I'll go to the stores and I'll say, all right, these are the ones that I want. The majority of the albums are ones that I've never heard, but I at least know that there's something to be gained from the album if it's on these lists. Some of them are total dog shit and ones that I'll never listen to again, but at least I've got a little bit of a backstory. I've got a paragraph to read about the album on these lists, and it gives me a little bit of information. So, I mean, I've never heard this album, still haven't, just cleaned it in my D-gritter, but
I'm not giving
Someone
it
did
out.
that.
I'm not
Someone
giving
did
it
that,
out.
by the way, one time when I was on.
I'm not
Michael
giving out your
Fraser's-
number, Patrick, no matter how much you guys
this guy right here,
offer me.
Joanna Newsom. I saw this album and it freaked the living crap out of me.
Hang on,
Don't
what's
know.
that one? That's cool.
Comus.
That's gonna
Oh, I've
that'll
heard
give
of
me
that.
that's gonna give me nightmares.
See again.
God.
I'm looking for the people in the
That's
chat to let me know
Comus.
whether.
And what's the
what
name
I
of the
got is
what's the
crap.
name of the album? It's a Comus is a band, right?
First Utterance.
What kind of music is that, Joe?
Great question.
I bet
still
you,
haven't
I
had
bet
to
you
drop
it's
the
really,
needle on
really
this. This is
loud
so
music.
fresh.
Okay.
It looks like it could be, but when I asked the guy, he said it was just kind of like, I don't want to say it was folk rock, but it's
no.
as much as the album looks like it would be death metal or something. It's apparently I think late 60s. I'll find out. This is a repress, so I'll let you know. I'll write a full article about it in the morning.
It's a British folk band, 1970s.
There you
Not-
go.
it's not loud.
That's what I said. Sonics.
The Sonics, does that have the red etiquette label? Can you check?
It is etiquette. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to recap, I think John Bandy's recapping it for us. So what did we learn here today, boys
No,
and girls? That
I
all
wish-
reissues
I would-
sound like
I would-
meh compared to the originals.
I wish
that some
to
do and
flex-
some
I wish to
don't.
flex one more time. I wish to since.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see it.
All right, so I forgot I had these. This is a Tool
Okay.
Opiate. This is an original.
I have that too. Want me to
This
get
one's-
mine out?
This one's been
You do,
open.
yeah.
Here's an
You
open.
guys can compare.
This is an
Send them
OG. This is an
Yeah, me
OG.
too.
Okay. That's huge.
This is an OG as well.
Undertow?
Yeah.
Undertow?
How many
I have
albums do you
I
have?
have all
Patrick?
those too.
This
there.
is sealed. This is sealed. Never opened.
What is that one? Oh. Undertow. Okay, it's hard to see. Tool.
Joe, that's good
Steel.
shit you have there. I'm the good shit lover.
I will
Steven.
get you my list of albums.
That
to
is
see.
that is sealed as
Wow.
well. And last but not least, this is sealed. An original steel
Yeah.
pressing of Anima. So
How many?
Not
how
a-
many
not a
albums do you have,
bootleg.
Patrick? Do you think?
8,000. I don't know.
Jesus, Mary and
Somewhere
Joseph.
around
Where do you keep all these records?
Holy
All in
smokes.
this room. I have.
Can you do a spin? Can we see? Can you spin your camera? Let's see this.
So there is the box sets. All right.
Okay.
There's the Kalaxes.
I
Those
do
are
see-
those are reissues and 12-inch singles, 3 cubes of 12-inch singles. Those are 45s. All this is jazz right here.
Okay.
That's jazz. And then underneath here is like stuff I'm going to sell. And then in the closet,
Oh my
There's-
gosh.
there's a box. And then along the wall, all the way through here is like on each
Wow.
side is like Kalaxes. So yeah.
Love it.
I do see floors, so that's good.
I have IKEAs in my closets too, Patrick. We're sick, aren't we?
So we're actually going to split my garage in half and like move all this stuff downstairs because it's the load bearing is not too good here. My son's an architect, and he's like going, dude, you got too much weight.
Tell you what I'll do, Steve, here real quick before I forget. I will put that list on a Dropbox link, and people can just download it because I've got it saved.
Yeah,
of your titles you want to get. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I mean, I've already pecked away at this, but I've got a master list which has them all compiled. If someone else wants to grab it, so let me grab that for you.
So I would say the audio fidelity stuff is also very good. The like Riot, Restless Breed, the Scorpions, Virgin Killer, the Hounds of Love, the Sade stuff is excellent.
So can we say that do all remaster? Okay, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, do all remaster albums sound better than the original? And I think someone said no, it's case by case. Is that what it's going to be? Case by case. That's all it is. Case by case.
If I gave a percentage, I would say 75 original, 25% reissues, because of the way they're done. So that's just my opinion. So.
Hit the thumbs up. It actually helps. All these thumbs up helps. I'll tell you guys that. Thumbs up.
So did we get enough thumbs up to do the shootout with the master sound?
Well, no, I don't know. What are we at for thumbs up? Does anyone know how many thumbs up we have?
Yeah.
We'll do the shootout. Why not?
I'm going to do it anyway.
We're going to do it.
So whether you want to participate or not is like
next Thursday, Michael T. and I have a special guest on. Finally.
Santa Claus?
Pretty close. Intervention Records. Shane Bittner is coming on.
Now that's a label that does shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
so what is he sending us to review? Tell the folks what
there's
we're
a new Everclear album coming out.
Excited to listen to that.
Is it called Scenes from an American? What is it? That one. Yeah.
His Joe Jackson stuff is amazing. So.
Yeah. Shane also distributes Lyra cartridges. Then he just picked up Swedish Analog Technologies, the SAT tone arm, and the $300,000 SAT turntable. He's the U.S. distributor now.
So Shane's on next Thursday, 7 p.m. I'm excited for that. That'll be
I'm posting in the chat here right now if you want to make it go live. If people want to copy and paste it.
What are you posting?
That's a Dropbox link to my PDF with all the albums from all these lists that I've compiled. So there's
where'd you put it?
I want to say there's 3,300 different albums on there. From 1,001 albums to Here Before You Die, all the Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums, 100 greatest jazz albums of all time, 100 greatest British invasion albums or British it's a considerable list.
Gee, nobody's going to pick that apart from these.
Did you put it in the comments? I don't see it there, Joe.
I did. I just posted it from my.
I don't think he's not allowed to post comments. Put it in the private chat, and then Steve can post it.
Put it in the private chat.
It's just Josiah Kroll, which is my.
Okay, put it in the private, and then I'll put it.
I posted it in the on the YouTube link.
Doesn't Diana Krall live in like the Pacific Northwest with Elvis Costello?
She does. She lives. She lives in. What the heck is it? She's from Nanaimo, which is on Vancouver Island.
Oh, that's where Rachel lives.
So thumbs up for this show, guys. It helps. And next week, like I said, we're having Shane on from Intervention.
Steve, I'll send you the link in the private chat here, and you can just copy and paste it.
All right. Want me to do it? Want me to do it for you, Steve? I got it. I'll do it.
Yeah, go for it.
I got it.
You got it too? Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
How about we both do it just to be nice?
Okay, so this is another one that I got. Don't know if it's any good. Haven't listened to it yet.
Well, Return to Forever, Chick Corea.
Oh, that's a great album. Yeah. There was a couple of those. There was a couple of Chick Corea Forevers, wasn't there?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, there was Return to Forever, and then I think Chick Corea got the name. I think after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, is Al Di Meola or like a Billy Cobham? Oh, is that a reprise? Is that a U.S. reprise? Is that?
I believe it is. Yeah.
What label is that on? Is that on the W7 whatever?
Oh my God, man! You are just like.
Can you get Patrick on? He's into details.
I know
Joe.
it's scary.
Okay, show it up. Put it up.
There you go.
Patrick,
okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
a huge case guy, but I'm sure that sounds good. I mean,
oh well, yeah. As long as it passes the Patrick sniff test, I know it's good.
Didn't Mike or Kevin Graycut remastered some of the Kink stuff? Didn't he? Did the box?
He did the mono box. I have it right here. It's really great.
No,
that's a good one.
Awesome.
This is not an original.
That's one of his favorites he's ever done. Kevin.
Is that a Canadian?
No, this is just this is a very, very new repressing of it. But I do have the Stooges there was a Vinyl Me Please version of this that was a different master of it, and so now I've got both. So
Yeah,
So
the track sequence is different.
So I'll give you all a hint. If you go look at something like the Stooges and go look at the original Dead Wax and like copy that, and then go into Discogs Advanced Search and paste that in to the Matrix thing, a lot of times they would send over the plates to like Germany, France, and you can get an OG like Funhouse or the self-titled for like $50-$60, where it will cost you like $300.
But it's the same.
Speaking of Funhouse, Patrick, I also want to do a shootout of the Funhouse Stooges with an
with
OG.
the ERC.
I would do that one with you because I am curious.
Okay, we can do that. I have both.
What else do I got here?
I did sell my ERC Stooges for.
I picked this one up at a garage sale, just a Canadian pressing. It has none of the posters in it, though, so if someone wants to give me free posters.
I think it was Rick's V Spinner at the beginning of the show likes the Canadian version of.
I literally just got a UK of that. Legion Leaf.
Floyd.
It sounds amazing. Is that on island? Is that on island in the UK? Is that a Canadian?
A&M.
Is that a Canadian?
No, this is actually one I got in Seattle, so it's going to be a US.
US. What is so that's probably a second pressing on that label, but it probably still sounds great. It's a great record. Awesome.
I would have to go with my Discogs to see which. I mean, I'm very, very anal about making sure that the pressing that I enter in on my Discogs is actually the pressing. I would say
I think the first press would have been on like the olive drab kind of brown label on A&M. It came out in Ireland on the UK.
And this is the last one, Husker Du. It's the last album that they did before they all broke up.
That's probably worth some money.
You know what? I can find out for you. Let's find out together.
Smash the thumbs up. So tell me in the chat, do you guys want to do a blind shootout? Patrick, you want to do Band on the Run? I like that album, 1973.
I mean, y'all were just talking about like
73 had some good records, right?
And I have the Nimbus and the original UK.
Okay. I'm in.
Is it against the rules if I give it a thumbs up as well, even though I'm on it?
Not.
Does that mean I'm not biased? Okay, good. It's because that guy in the bottom left corner, stud.
Is that all it's worth there, William? Pumping vinyl's $30. I don't know a lot about that era, so I'm actually still learning about that era. So I literally ignore all that stuff.
What's $30?
I think he's saying the Husker Du is like $30.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't worth a whole heck of a lot.
No, yeah. Best good shit again.
Are those Sugar albums worth a lot of money? Isn't that Bob Mould's side band Sugar? Is that his band or is that the other guy, Frank Black?
Are you asking me?
Well, anybody.
You're definitely asking the wrong guy.
I'm asking everybody. So, who's in Sugar? Is it Frank Black or Bob Mould? I think it's Bob Mould. So, anyway,
Husker D. That's the most he's paid is $30 for the.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how much. I think it's going for $40 Canadian, which is like about.
So that's
divided
odd.
by 10.
Okay, so Red Expander says okay, so I'm not stupid. So yeah, it is Bob Mould. Sugar had 3 bands and three albums that I know of. And they sound great. To me, I like them better than the Husker Du stuff, personally. But I thought all that era stuff was like pretty pricey these days, but I guess not. So,
no, I think this one came out in the late '80s. So I mean,
aren't they like contemporaries with like the Pixies and
Again, you know what? This is the beauty of doing this. So I basically got all these albums, and I've only had the chance to listen to like 2 of them since I got back. And so that's why I've got into my little rack of albums to go through. And some of them I will like, and some of them I'll hate. And
that's what's great about buying stuff you don't know about. I mean, it's like, like I said, this whole 80s stuff that I've been getting into, because I was like a metal guy, so I didn't listen to any of that stuff, So now it's new music to me. All this stuff like the Smiths and OMD and Echo and the Bunnymen, all that stuff is new to me. And it's like, oh, wow, this is like new music for me. So,
well, same thing. Like I would love to know what you have to say about that list there, Patrick. So it's like just take a look at that PDF. Like I said, there's over 3,000 albums on there, and it's been incredibly educational for me just to. I've got a Pure Fidelity turntable. You got to check them out if you haven't. With a Origin Live Illustrious tone arm. Not that one, but close to it. I could send you some.
How's that?
So it would be equivalent to the turntable kind of
How's
on the far right there. Yeah, that works. So mine's just all white though. white platter, white plinth.
I'm laughing
And-
because
So
I think
my Pure Fidelity Harmony more is the one on the far right, the one that's behind me right now, correct?
Yes, that it's almost identical. The tone arm's different. So that the one in that picture is our Stratos tone arm, which is made
And I have the live
basically
origin
in-house.
encounter.
Do you have the Encounter or do you have the Illustrious?
Encounter.
Okay, so yours is like just one step. If you look at the 2000 and actually I'll show you. Give me 2 seconds.
so. I'm looking at his list, and I'm like going, so the only problem with his list is like it just has the
So
name of the artist and the album.
1
and
second,
so
Patrick.
go
the
ahead.
exact turntable that you have was on the cover of Stereophiles, December, I want to say 2022.
I know someone that's been in Stereophile as well. PB thought.
Yeah.
Me.
So that
So
there's my
your
turntable.
Your turntable looks a little bit different, obviously, because this is our quilted maple finish.
I like
But
mine.
this
I
is
like
the
my look.
exact turntable that you have. So it's a fantastic deck.
So I'm looking at your list.
There you can see it right there.
Look at
I
your
like it.
list. I'm looking at your list, and like the first thing I see is like the adverts. Somebody just sent me a bunch of adverts, 45. But anyway, so your list is great, but the problem with your list is it just shows like album and artist and year.
Correct.
It doesn't say what pressing to look for. That's
No,
what you're
and this
missing.
is where
You're
you come
missing.
into play.
That's where you're missing. You're missing.
This
the
is
secret.
where we can
You
You need that app.
Yeah.
we can become best friends and become bosom buddies. There you are.
Yeah. There's my stereo. There's
I'm
my
renaming this
stereo
show.
file.
This is the Flex Show today. Mine is bigger than yours. Anyways, we're going to leave it at that. We solved world problems again today. We're going to get jobs at the UN, all 4 of us. It's been great, guys. Thank you, Patrick P. Thal, Michael T. from Seattle, Joe, Pure Fidelity. It's been a great time here, guys. Smash that thumbs up button. It helps us out.
Yes. More than 20.
Next Thursday, Shane Bittner, Intervention Records, Michael T. and I. That'll be a great show. Friday, I did, I guess, 5:45 a.m. It's going to be the release
Show
of
up
the
for
2
Shane, people.
Rhino Hi-Fi records. I don't know what happened there. Rhino Hi-Fi records. They're not rock records. Okay, it's not rock and roll.
Steve, I got to tell you, last Saturday, Shane came over to the house I was at, and he brought lacquers of all the Intervention records. We listened to them.
That must have blown your mind.
Yeah, they were dead quiet.
Man,
Go
his Joe
smash
Jackson
now.
and Flying Burrito Brothers stuff is top
Amazing.
notch. Top
Yeah,
notch.
yeah.
So Friday we'll have the release of the Rhino Hi-Fis. Not rock. They're not rock records. Okay.
People show up for Shane. Seriously, he
Show up
deserves
for
it.
the show.
Thursday.
Smash the
He
thumbs
deserves
up.
it.
We're gonna have some Everclear Shane sending us some stuff for Michael and I to listen to. So we'll talk about that, guys. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Spin some records, Joe. You're gonna be busy now. You got a
everybody.
lot.
I know
lot
it's gonna be
yeah.
ridiculous. If anyone does want to fire me off an email in regard, I know there was a question there that I didn't answer, but if anyone has any questions about stuff,
If you
Joe,
put that list into a spreadsheet and put like a separate field, that
I
says,
would
like,
love
best-
to do that.
Best
I would-
pressing, I will when I get time. I will fill it out. For you.
Well, I'll give you the Excel version of that list, and so you can just add and fill it in. And if anyone has any questions or if they want that list or something, joe@purefidelity.ca. So thanks for having me on, Steve.
All right, guys. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Billy
guys.
Squire's great on intervention.
Billy